We can rebuild him. We have the technology, but I don't want to spend a lot of money.
Everything really is moving faster, including product cycles. Just when you made up your mind to order that UH-1, poof, it's already old news, and now you have the newer, shinier one to think about. Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Today we're talking about the latest holographic sight from Vortex, the Razor AMG UH-1 Gen 2, and the 3x Micro Magnifier, which Vortex graciously sent us for evaluation. So we looked at the Gen 1 earlier this year and found that it's a really strong candidate for those looking for a duty-grade holographic sight to compete with EOTech. Now with this release, how much closer has Vortex closed the gap? Well, I'm here to tell you that after spending some time with this new UH-1 Gen 2, I think good old Wesley was right.
Always bet on black.
So let's take a look at some of the reasons why. Let's go. So first things first, when you mount the gun, what do you see? Well, I see a very precise circled out reticle projected through some very clear glass. First, we need to make mention of reticle brightness. The sight offers 15 brightness levels, and from my experience, you don't really need the highest setting even when it's high noon outside. That's important since holographic sights tend to have shorter battery lives than LED sights, so you only want to use the lowest brightness setting that's necessary to see the reticle. Secondly, let's talk about reticle sharpness. If you use holographic sights before, you know that they can look more pixelated than LED-based sights like the Holosun 512C. And if you put the UH-1 next to an EOTech, you'll even notice that the EOTech looks a little bit sharper than the UH-1. I've noticed that the UH-1 does have a lot longer battery life. My theory is perhaps Vortex accomplishes this by using less pixels, but still, as a CQB-centric sight, if you are target focused versus staring at the reticle, it's not going to be an issue. But while we're looking at the reticle, I want to note its design. At its 6 o'clock position, Vortex has added this little CQB triangle. I think it's a nice little touch when you're working at contact distances. Since we're looking through the glass, you'll also notice that the coating used to reflect the laser is a little bit less blue than the Gen 1. You really notice those qualities when you put a magnifier behind it like this Vortex 3x Micro. The UH-1 reticle doesn't have any hash marks or BDC drops, so I'd say you can really only effectively engage out to 300 yards or so on IPSC sized targets, and that's when using holdover just over the head. Still, magnification can really help when it comes to target ID and locating small targets in cover. Now that we've taken a look at the internals, let's back out and talk externals. So if you look at the Gen 1 and Gen 2 side by side, you can clearly see differences in the body. It looks like Vortex made several changes as far as adding these lightning cuts, but I don't think you'll feel the weight differences between the V1 and V2 as they're both around 11 ounces. One change that is pronounced though is the new battery cover. You can now change it without tools just by lifting the flap and turning. Mounting wise, the Gen 2 still offers the same excellent QD mount. It's a very simple and effective mount. You depress the release, swing it open, mount, and swing it closed again. If it's not tight enough, you just turn the opposite side nut to match your rail specs. Also unchanged are its half MOA windage and elevation adjustments, which can still be done with any available flathead, coin, or spent casing. By the way, while we're talking mounts, the 3x Micro Magnifier shares the same QD mount, so you can easily remove when you don't need to go mid-range. The flip mechanism is very intuitive and fast. Weight-wise, the Magnifier lives up to his Micro moniker in that it weighs only about 9.5 ounces, so when combined with the UH-1, it's a 20-ounce total setup, which is less than most LPVOs with their mounts. Comparatively, you're getting some weight savings versus the larger Holosun HM3X. Surprisingly though, if you compare the field of view and eye relief versus the Holosun, you'll find that the Micro more than holds its own. Lastly, let's talk about the buttons on the UH-1. They feel great and responsive to the touch whether you're adjusting for brightness or turning the sight on and off. Also, unlike EOTech smaller buttons, they're sized big enough for working with gloves or bigger hands. If you're interested in any of the gear featured in this video, the links can be found below in the description. These links help support the channel as well. Thanks, and here are the final thoughts on our featured product. So, in summary, we've seen that even though the Gen 2 arrives with some added functionality like night vision, its primary goal really was to improve upon an already good thing. You already had a fast circled out reticle, which you can make a teensy bit faster with a larger and clearer window. And if you want to extend your setup even further, just plop that 3X micro on there and you're good out to 300 yards. At a street price of $500, you're looking at a duty-grade holographic sight that feature for feature eclipses the EOTech. So it's fair to say that the Vortex UH-1 AMG Gen 2 is the next evolution of holographic combat sights.